Yo, what is good everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Today we're taking a look at a number of different things in the world of the Nintendo Switch. And we're going to first start off with this article that is coming out, or more like a report from Bloomberg and Takashi Mochizuki, who has been reporting on Nintendo for a number of years. And there is a lot of interesting things that are in this article. Now, the first thing that they talk about is Nintendo boosting the Switch production by another 20%. If you guys don't know, Nintendo's already been somewhat struggling to keep Switches on store shelves in certain parts of the world, especially in the US and in Japan just a little bit. But it does seem like Nintendo is going to have some help here, according to this article, because they are going to have another 20% boost, which is going to be a new fiscal year to close with 30 million Nintendo Switch units sold, which I think would be the most since the Wii or like the Nintendo DS. For sure, those hit 30 million at some point, but man, that is crazy if they were able to do that. But it does seem like Nintendo's supply chains have been recovering now that the pandemic is continuing to still be a thing, but they've kind of adjusted to what is going on and put in new protocols to keep people safer and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and get into this article here. So Nintendo Co. has asked its assembly partners to increase production of the Switch gaming console, raising its goal to as much as 30 million units for the fiscal year, according to people familiar with its strategy. Now, the Japanese game maker has been struggling to keep up with Switch demand for most of the year, boosted by the runaway success of Animal Crossing New Horizons and the coronavirus pandemic lifting gaming demand. It has raised production orders to 25 million units in early August, but that has proven insufficient, and assemblers are now operating factories at 120%. People said, asking to remain anonymous because the targets are private. Nintendo shares reversed losses Wednesday to gain as much as 2.3% after the report. Now, here's another very interesting thing about this article here. They start talking about potential game developers, not even potential game developers that are saying that Nintendo has asked them to get their games 4K ready in some point here. So let's go ahead and get into that here. Now, they start off by saying that there was an introduction of a more affordable Nintendo Switch Lite variant in late 2019, which I think Bloomberg or the Wall Street Journal, people reported on that. That ended up being right. Now, the timing of it was obviously on that one, but there was reports of that before. Now, that helped broaden the machine's mainline appeal. Obviously, the Switch Lite is helping boosting sales because people sometimes don't have as much, or they want to have multiple systems. You want to have a personal system for you to have or play. Switch Lite is a good option for you. Now, here's the thing. They said that there is a potential audience for Nintendo to be making preparations for an upgraded Switch model and beefed up games lineup for 2021. Now, Bloomberg News has reported several outside game developers, speaking anonymously as the issue is private, said that Nintendo has asked them to make their games 4K ready, suggesting a resolution upgrade is on the way. Now, a Nintendo spokesman also declined to comment. They reached out to Nintendo to talk about it, and they declined to comment on there. So I want to discuss that first before we get into some of the other stuff here. So let's talk about this, right? 4K ready. Now, here's what I think. I do think that Nintendo could be releasing a new system in 2021. We have some big games coming out that could definitely use, I guess, a little bit of a oomph or resolution boost or power boost or whatever the heck that you want to say, right? Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, Shin Megami Tensei 5, and probably other stuff that Nintendo's going to be doing next year as well. And that's been one of the knocks on Nintendo's Switch, right? That the resolutions aren't good, the third-party developers are struggling with that, looks bad in portable mode, whatever the case is. Now, we've talked about the new DLSS 2.0 technology and kind of what NVIDIA is doing there, and if Nintendo was able to get some tensor cores that can enable or harness that type of technology, they can get that better resolution or better looking without actually stressing the system as much. So they won't have to completely revise the whole system here. They can make a revision, but just kind of do things a little bit like a new Nintendo 3DS or like a Nintendo DSi, where they bumped up the RAM, they bumped up the power, but it wasn't anything crazy. It was still the same base system, but this even has a little bit more of an advantage because of the advancement of tech and this DLSS technology. If you have not seen it, or if you don't know what I'm talking about, please check out my previous videos on the matter, or check out the various different things that are out there about DLSS technology and how it works and what NVIDIA is doing Obviously, Nintendo and Nvidia have a great relationship. They're definitely looking at things. Now that the Nintendo Switch has been a success since 2017, I'm almost positive that they've been working hand in hand on what they're going to do next in order to prolong the life and in order to give developers a little bit more when it comes to some of these third-party games and everything. I think that a RAM bump from 4 gigabytes to 8 gigabytes or from 4 gigabytes to 6 gigabytes, giving developers more access to RAM is something that could definitely happen with a new Switch having DLSS technology kind of built in there. So maybe it's not natively running at 4K, which I don't think it would be, because that would be way too hard for a portable system to do that. Docked, obviously, maybe they can do something, but portable system, I mean, it would explode in your hands or would just be too expensive. There would definitely be issues with that, but you can trick people with the DLSS technology, and sometimes it actually looks better. Not even sometimes, it does look better if you look at the DLSS and what they're doing and kind of that upscaling. It looks great. So like I said, please make sure you check out the DLSS technology videos where they talk about it and they kind of discuss it more. It's really interesting stuff. And like I said, if Nintendo has those tensor cores with their next revision and they put that in there and working with Nvidia, they can really make a little bit of noise next year, especially with some big games like Breath of the Wild coming out, and other third-party developers will be a little bit more interested in getting some of the performance out from a hybrid system, right? I mean, we saw how The Witcher 3 did extremely well on the Nintendo Switch, and that was running at a pretty low resolution. People just wanted to be able to play Witcher anywhere that they want, and then developers get real crafty with it, right? Because then you can take like the Switch version of it, and if you have the PC version, you can actually have cross saves. So when you're at home, you can play it on your big PC and all that, and then when you're on the go, you can play it on your Switch Lite. Now imagine if they had another Switch that came out that did a little bit better and looked a lot better with the DLSS, and it just kind of made games like The Witcher and some of these other ones look better on the go as well. I think that would be a big help to Nintendo's momentum and Nintendo's strength that they have going with the Switch right now. So we're gonna have to wait and see what happens here, but I definitely think that it's more in line with a 4K upscaling than it is an actual native 4K. So I'm thinking it's more like that, because developers do count like 4K upscaling as like 4K. Even if you look at the Xbox One X or the PS4 Pro, those are all, hey, yeah, we can do 4K, but a lot of it is upscaled, you know, or checkerboarded or whatever the case is there. So I'm thinking it's more in line with that than native 4K. I don't think it's native 4K. Because the price and everything like that, but you might not be able to tell the difference based off of DLSS technology here. So what are you guys' thoughts on this? I'd love to hear it in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to a topic here that I'll probably, I would say, get back to again, but did Mario and Zelda once again come to the rescue for Nintendo in 2020? Obviously, we've had a rough year, guys, around the world. Gaming has just been something that a lot of people have taken a lot of solace in, right? The pandemic has boosted gaming, but there's been a lot of heartbreak and a lot of sorrow this year. So it's pretty cool, at least to have the games that we have had released this year. So I'm thankful for that. But let's talk about Nintendo in general, because the fans have been pretty vocal online at times about what they like and what they don't like. And this year potentially has been one of the down years for a lot of people out there, because Nintendo didn't have their E3 presentations. They didn't have their normal big directs and all that because of the pandemic and because of the issues. Some games got delayed. There were some issues here and there. I mean, obviously, there's been a variety of problems for a variety of reasons, but here comes Nintendo at the end. Here comes Mario and here comes Zelda. We got the announcement of the Mario 35th anniversary with a number of new and old games coming over, but fan favorites like Super Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and also Super Mario Galaxy, three of the best platformers ever made, 3D platformers ever made, in my opinion, all coming over to the Switch pretty soon here in September. And then on top of that, you got the announcement that just came out of nowhere, and that is Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, which is a canon in the Zelda franchise, it being a prequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, detailing 100 years before that game and the Calamity War. That is something that people have really wanted to see how that played out. We didn't really get a look at it when we played Breath of the Wild, but now we're actually going to get a full game based around that, a full war. And I think the Warriors series kind of embodies what a full war would be like, more so than any other style of game. So to me, it makes complete sense that they did that. But did these 2, or should I say 4 games kind of save Nintendo's 2020? And for me, I was already kind of okay, just because, you know, I understand the pandemic year and I understand what was going on, you know, and I have a crazy backlog, you know, so I have no shortage of games, you know, but for other people, it's a little bit different. So let's talk about that, right? So let's discuss that. And so for me, you know, I was cool, but the Mario announcement was definitely like, okay, now I'm really cool because I really want to play Mario Galaxy again. I really want to replay Sunshine. That game, I barely even remember playing that game, you know, 13 years ago or however long I played that game. It was more than 13 years ago, wasn't it? Yeah, because Galaxy was 13 years ago that I played that game, and Sunshine was in 2003. Yeah, so it was almost 20 years ago. We're going on 17 years ago or whatever. But anyway, you know, I was good with that because that's a lot of Mario games to be playing. So I was going to have a lot of fun with that. And then some third-party releases maybe that haven't been announced for a date yet, like Bravely Default. But with this new game, because those are older games, right? We had Pikmin 3 as well, but those are older games. But with this new game, Age of Calamity, hasn't saved Nintendo's 2020. And based off of what I'm seeing online and kind of based off some of the issues that people had with the Mario collection and that being a limited release, although I do feel that they're going to release those games digitally again. There's going to be other packages with that. You know, that's just my own personal opinion. Obviously, people disagree, but whatever on that one. So people were upset about that. But then we had this announcement, and it's like everybody just forgot, because it's like, yo, wait a minute. Here's a brand new game. I mean, I'm going to be able to play this if I've already played those other games. So it was pretty crazy. So I'm going to say that it's definitely a great way to end the year with Mario, Pikmin, and Zelda. First-party games that a lot of people probably haven't played as well, just because of how old some of those games are. And of course, Pikmin 3 was on the Wii U, and not a lot of people bought the Wii U. So to me, it was a great ending of the year. But I'm more interested in you guys' thoughts on that matter that was indifferent on this year or that was really negative on this year. What are you guys' thoughts? Did Mario and Zelda save the year for you in 2020? Or was it just a nice boon to it? What else would you like to see? Is there anything else that could help out that you feel could be coming, considering that we've got a game for obviously September, October, and November now? On top of third-party games, and some of them need to be announced in terms of release dates. But what are you guys' thoughts on this? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Check out the links in the description. We've got Twitter. Go and give us a follow on there. Stay up to date on all latest gaming news and information. Also, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video if you can. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you for the next one. Peace.